So the animation industry had this underground kind of secret, I don't know, information library that really didn't get to see the light of day outside of people who knew people. And some of those secrets have slowly been making their way out to the public. And I'm going to talk to you about where you can find said secrets in this video. Hi, my name is Luis Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist from the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for over 20 years now. And I just wanted to point out this book, Drawn to Life by Walt Stanchfield. This book is a very fat book. And in it are lectures that Walt Stanchfield would give at the Disney Animation Studio on drawing, on cartooning, on animating, and the mindset, the approaches that you had to go to be able to produce the type of artwork and the kind of drawing necessary that gave life, meaning, excitement, appeal to this medium of animation, specifically through drawing. And these lectures were done and handouts were given out. And these handouts would then be photocopied and given to friends in other studios, and then they would be passed around photocopy to photocopy to photocopy, and you'd end up having like a 10th generation copy of the lecture. And it's amazing information. Tackling in-betweens, tackling drawing and caricature, silhouettes, and the best approach to posing your characters so that things are readable, composition, poses and mood, plus timing and phasing, textures. We've got more on heads. This is talking about heads, drawing heads in the Freddie Moore style, turning heads, rotating heads, the types of heads, shapes that were used. We've got simplifying wrinkles and drapery, and the role of drapery in drawing, and why in using simple but logical approach to drapery, the seriousness of head sketching, body syntax, head and gesture. This is typical. If you ever wanted to understand the Disney eye or the Warner Brothers eye, here it is in what the animators themselves in the studios would get about drawing eyes and how to deal with them, how to close the eyes, how eyes work in animation and in the animation industry, and specifically in the Disney studio. Overlapping, and this alone, I've had photocopies of this for years. This is like a little school on just anatomy and animating, based off of Milk Call's Tigger drawings. And now it's published. Now it's published in a book. Like, most of this stuff I've never seen. And I've seen, and I've got a ton of these things, like photocopies of photocopies of photocopies of these notes. And I would devour them when I first started in the industry, because they're just absolutely the most amazing amount of knowledge when it comes to drawing. And this is how the Disney artists would be trained. This is the training that they would receive in the studio. And now you can buy these books with this information in it. Like, this was the secret information that only industry professionals would get. And now it's public. And the fact that there isn't a whole lot of talk about this is really sad, because I think in part it's because hand-drawn feature animation in the West is, at least in the US specifically, is pretty much dead. So a lot of CG artists aren't even taught this stuff. I work on a television show where we still hand draw the characters. We don't use puppet animation. We hand draw every single drawing that we do. We hand draw it digitally, but we're still hand drawing. We're not doing tracebacks, and we're not doing puppets and moving the puppets around. None of our characters are rigged. We hand draw everything. So there is still places in the animation industry where hand drawing is still being done. And therefore, this information still comes in handy. So, and even if you're not coming into the animation industry, even if you have nothing to do, even if you're just going to do comics, and even if you're going to do slightly more traditional superhero, more, you know, naturalistic, realistic type comics, I would still recommend coming and reading this sort of thing, because if you really think about it, it's one of the best artists ever, Frank Frazetta, started off doing very Looney Tunes type cartoon comics. He got trained in the very cartoony style, and then slowly became more and more realistic and more naturalistic, and became one of the most amazing artists. And part of the reason that his art is so dynamic and has so much energy is because he started in cartooning. Exaggeration is key in cartooning. And when you apply the same principles of exaggeration to realism, you get what Frazetta had, which was absolutely dynamic, powerful drawings, as opposed to very stiff-looking paintings where characters just standing there looking exactly like the pose that was used from the reference that was used. So, highly recommend this book. I have a link to this book in the description of this video, and I hope this video has been helpful. Again, the book is called Drawn to Life by Walt Stanchfield. It's a wealth of information. Every artist should have a copy of this book. And this is only volume 1, by the way. There's a ton of other ones. I've only got the first one. But there are, I think, 4 now or 5, something like that. It's crazy. So, but if you only get one, just get the first. All right, so I'll talk to you later. Bye. If you found this video valuable, I would like to encourage you to return value for value by becoming one of my patrons over on Patreon. Not only will you encourage me to continue making informative videos that are useful to you, but you get extra perks too. For only a small investment of $1 a month, you can get all new videos I create months before anyone else gets to see it. Also, if you have any questions you'd like me to answer as a patron, you get priority and I answer your questions first. On top of that, when you're a patron at any level, you become part of a raffle where I send original art via mail to the winner of that month. The higher your tier, the better your opportunity to win. Higher tier patrons also get access to any art I do in high-res JPEGs, and also full access to PSD files to any work I do, including the PSD files of these videos. Currently, there's a huge backlog of downloadable files you can get, so right away you're going to get quite a lot of bang for your buck. And the more patrons I get, the better these videos will get. The more content I can produce. In other words, the more you benefit. Please consider becoming a patron. Thanks. The link to my Patreon is on the screen and in the description of this video.